Hi, I'm Linda Black, the Yoga Life Mentor, and today is part 2 of mala making class. In part 1, I showed you how to pick out your malas, and in part 2, I'll show you how to get it started in the knot tying and stringing. So you can see I've laid my mala out here in the pattern that I've chosen, and this is my pattern. So I simply wrote it down so I would have a pattern to follow. Otherwise, you're going to get tripped up. So it's really important that you count your beads, make sure over and over again you have the right amount, and then that your pattern is clearly marked. So once you have all of that set out and ready, I am going to figure out which string I want to use with this mala. Now I had a tough time because the gray was equally as beautiful as the white, and these are the knots that are in between. Ultimately, I decided to go with the white, and you may choose differently. It's really a preference. So I'll set that aside, and it's about 20 feet is what you need. So I'll take this beautiful string that I got from Jules in, let's see, I got to remember. Oh, I'm not going to remember right now, but I'll mark it. I'll put it down below. So I'm 5'5", so this is about 5 feet every time I do a length of my arm. That's 10 feet now, 15, and 20 feet, which is going to be plenty. I'll wrap that under there, scissor it, and I did not compensate for the larger beads. If you have larger beads, you may need more string, and I'm using larger 10 millimeter beads. I'm going to set that aside, and I'm actually going to do this again with 25 feet. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That's going to make sure that I don't run out. I probably have enough with the 20, but I want to make sure. You can't undo them once you've done them. Now it's really important that you take your string once you've got it, and I just unravel it. It's usually helpful to have another person holding that string for you, but I'm going to attempt to do it on my own today. There we go. You can see the string gets really unruly, so I want to make sure that I untangle it as best as I can. Yeah. Very good. So I'm just using my thumb and finger to smash it really good and get all of the, unwind it, all of the tangles out. Yeah. I got a little bit in. So it's important to keep your string very clear. Now I have a tiny, tiny needle. If you can see that. It was really hidden right there on my blanket. And I'm going to thread it through one side. And basically now put this needle right in the middle of my string. So I have to re-string it through. I'm going to set that down, find the ends of this beautiful long string, and I'm going to bring the ends together. So once you have the two ends together, once again, I'm going to smash it really good. So you can see my string already is starting to behave better. It's not as going in circles, and I've got to my, oh, there it is. My needle is right in the middle. So I'm going to set that down again, Go back to the end, and this is where I start my knots. The first knot you're going to make is a slip knot. So I'm going to loop it, bring the short end back up through, and then slip knot it. So I'm going to hold my finger strong there and tie it tight. So on one end, when I've got my beads coming down, that's really tight. On the other end, if I pull it, it's going to pull out. And you'll see at the end why we need that to happen. So once again, slip knot it. And I just need about an 8 to 10 inch string. This looks like about 6. I don't really need that much. I'm going to pull it up through and make a slip knot. Dun, 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 dun. That's probably the most difficult part you'll do on this part of the equation. Now I've got it tight. So in my pattern, I want to have 2 beads hanging down before I do my tassel and before I put on my bling. So I've got a really pretty, beautiful mala here, or piece of jewelry that's going to hang down, and it's going to really make a nice statement at the end of my mala. And I want to set it off by 2 beads hanging down from the guru bead. So anything that's hanging from the guru bead does not need a knot in it. So I'll just go ahead and put those on. This is going to come on later. The other thing you need to make sure is that I can go through it once again, because you're going to have 4 threads going through these beads and the guru bead. Now that fit really nice, so I'm not at all worried about it. I'll pull it back through. So I'm doing a tester. Let me pull that all the way through and I'll restring it. But it's really bad if you get to the end and you can't fit that string back through another time. So you want to make sure that your holes are big enough. And I've chosen 2 that have quite large holes, so we're not going to have a problem. And then I'll string the guru bead on. I have a little bit of bling here. This is my silver, so that's going to be my first knot. I'm not even going to make that a knot, so that'll be my first knot. And now I've got 7 faceted howlite, which I think are beautiful. So this is where I'm going to do my very first knot. Let's bring these all the way down. You can see it's a long way down to my slip knot. And now you can see that it's not going anywhere. That's stuck. So my very first knot, again, is just like a slip knot. I'm going to knot it, and I'm bringing the short end through. When my mala gets pretty long, I'll start bringing the other end through, but this is a shortcut. Now here's the real big secret to getting that knot right up close to your bead. You slip knot it here, and then I'm going to take these 2 strands, and I'm just going to pull and pull. Make sure you don't loop it around there. And once I get it here, I'm going to pull tight, and now everything is cinched in. It's not going anywhere. I'll take my next bead, string it on. I've got 7 of these. And instead of stringing that all the way down, I'm going to do all 7 at one time. And you'll see how this is a shortcut. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'll probably end up stringing half my mala, and then I'll knot them all. So you want to be careful not to tangle our string. So I'm going to set that over there, come all the way down. You can see I just have to keep pulling it, making sure I smooth out my string. It's cumbersome to work with this much string, so when you're doing a smaller bead, That extra 5 feet is a lot. Okay, so you can see I need knots in between these. So I'm going to slip these up a little bit. I'm going to pull that tight, and I'm going to make my next knot. So again, coming through, I have my knot, and I'm going to pull tight. Let's get that close enough. And I'm just going to keep pulling. Just keep pulling. You want to coax it right in there, and I'm going to tighten it. Don't worry about getting it too tight. This string stretches, and over time, your mala will hang really nice and loose after it's been really tightened. If you make looser knots, you're going to have the problem of your beads slipping in between knots. And the sign of a really well put together mala is that you don't have that slippage. So tighten it up. The next one, knot, come through, place it, and pull it. You can see I have a little space there, but you're going to watch this bead's going to cinch right up against the next one. Tighten it down good. Next bead. So I can work pretty quick getting this mala done. It will probably take me about another maybe hour or 2 to string all these on. I've got a complex pattern, so maybe 2 hours. And then we'll be ready to put on the tassel. So join me at the end when we put on the tassel. And that is part 2 of putting your mala together. You are well on your way. Just repeat 108 times and count your malas, your beads. Thank you.